Hi guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kearsey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. Today we're going to talk about mistakes. And it's not just rookies that make mistakes, and lots of people want to blame them, but you're going to make mistakes out here on a daily basis because, well, like, you're human, hello. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of mistakes I made recently, and yes, it kind of made me feel stupid, and yes, it got me frustrated. So stick with me, and I'll be right back. Okay, if you watched my video about the necessity of needing a CB, the one where I was driving on I-80 through the winter storm of black ice, and they had like 125 car pileup over, 100 miles or whatever it was, then you saw me kind of upset and nervous, and not nervous, but it was kind of freaky and scary. And I've posted videos about not allowing things to distract you, taking your time with things, not being in a rush. I also posted a video about just don't do it if you don't think you can. And it doesn't matter if you've been driving for years. Every once in a while, there's going to be some mistake that you make. Even now, 4 years driving, I made a few mistakes the next day. Not major ones where anybody had to know about it or accidents or anything, but it was still like, duh, Kira, what were you thinking? So, what happened was, the morning after the pileup, it was still snowing and it was still icy, and I messaged dispatch and told them I'm going to take it slow and I'm going to see how far I get, and I'll message you if I have to shut down. Well, my fuel stop was 30 miles away, and I had this nagging feeling that I should have just fueled and insisted on fueling where I was. At Prime, they give us the fuel stops that are the cheapest. In winter storm type of situations, they will authorize us to fuel at a location of our choice to get us through the winter storms and everything. I should have fueled where I was. It was a big TA that had plenty of room. It was very clear. They did a good job of, plowing it and everything. There wasn't any ice. It was a good place for me to go. And instead, I followed the directions to the Qualcomm directions to the pilot that was 30 miles away. A pilot I had never been to before. And I did a video on the backing video where I talked about knowledge is power. Well, I should have checked this because it was up a hill and it was really narrow fuel lanes, and it was a real tight turn. And where the people parked the night before, they shut down because of the storm, and they were right across from the fuel island. So when I came in and I went straight into the lane, I was actually blocking the traffic that was coming in from being able to go into the first couple lanes. My initial thought was go to the third lane because that's the easiest. Me being me and wanting to be courteous, I then backed up, and I said to myself, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to swing wide enough to make that lane, and I didn't. When I swung, because the trucks were here blocking my way to swing, I didn't have enough swing room, and by that time it was too late because the guy behind me is inching up. So I wound up coming through the fuel island in a severe slant, which wasn't good, and it was a really tight thing, and I was like, man, this sucks. And I get out and I go to fuel, and when I put the nozzle in, the nozzle was too short and it wouldn't just stay in. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I went to hold the handle and pull the little latch up so it would just keep going, and even that didn't work. The latch wouldn't just keep it held in. So I had to fuel this side, then go over and fuel the other side, and then I was at an angle, and you have to fill the reefer. If you don't fill the reefer within a certain amount of time, the pump times out. So what I did was I went to put the handle down on the ground because it shouldn't be spurting anywhere. The fuel shouldn't be spurting anywhere because the latch wouldn't even work. It wouldn't pump into the nozzle when I was holding it up without me hitting the button. So why would it do it if it was on the ground? So I put it on the ground, I jump in the truck, I try to straighten out, and this guy starts screaming at me, ma'am, your fuel's shooting all over. I'm like, oh my God, this sucks, right? So I jump back out, and I'm still completely crooked, and I put it back up there. Then I go and get kitty litter, that kitty litter I'm always talking about, see? It helps with cleanup too. So I go and get the kitty litter, and I throw it down so the guy, it was all over my lane and the next lane, so I threw it down so that the trucker pumping wouldn't fall. I go inside and I'm still crooked in the lane. It was such a small place, there was no room to pull through. So if I would have pulled up all the way to try to straighten out and get out of the lane, I wouldn't have been letting the cars and the trucks from the further lanes through past me. It was a mess. It was just a mess, let's put it that way. Then I go into the register girl and I'm like, well, what do I do? How much is it? Could you just charge me? What do you know? And she's like, I don't know. You have to go find Mike. Well, who the hell is Mike? Can't you page him or something? Like, I didn't say that. It was real nice and pleasant because, of course, I just made a fool out of myself and I shouldn't have done it. But that was me being in a rush and a hurry and still being distracted from everything that happened the day before. And this is what I said about you have to just put things out of your mind and get past it and get over it, learn from it, because then you can have a day like what I just had. And it wasn't cool. Just wasn't cool. So, you know, then the register girl winds up calling the manager at home to ask what they're supposed to charge me. And they're like telling me, oh, well, it's going to take a while. There was no parking in this truck stop. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? You know, can't I just give you a credit card and you can bill me? Well, no. Well, can I just leave you like $50 or $100 and like just get it done and over with? Because I want to go. And she's like, no, we can't do that either. I'm like, ugh. All right. So the guy comes out. Mike, the guy, you know, who works there, he winds up throwing a bunch of kitty litter down, and she had told me to ask him how much to charge me, and he's like, I don't know, I don't have anything to do with that. Is there anybody around here that knows what's going on, please? One person? So it just happened to be that somebody pulled out of an easy parking space, thank God. But in order for me to get into that parking space and get through the aisle, I had to like kind of come in at an angle and then swing back around and then straighten out, and there wasn't enough room. And then to swing around the pump, I had to go jump the curb in front of the actual store door. It wasn't fun. And then I was able to back up and park, and it took like 45 minutes for them to figure out what to charge me, and it came to a lousy $14. And I'm like, really? Like, you just had me sitting here being aggravated for almost an hour over $14? You gotta be kidding me. And so, like, that was just a series of errors that I know all started with that accident and being unsettled from the accidents. And watching and hearing the screams and you know, the metal crashing into each other. When those kinds of things happen, you have to put it out of your mind. And I'm telling you all this because it doesn't matter how long you've been out here. You're going to continue to make mistakes. You're going to continue to screw up. Your dispatch is going to make mistakes. You're going to run into drivers that make mistakes. You know, if you expect people to forgive your mistakes, then you need to forgive the mistakes of others too. You know, if there's a new driver that's having trouble backing up, don't get all huffy-puffy with them because you were struggling last month or maybe even last night. You know, if dispatch screws up with your load or your appointment or something, don't get huffy-puffy because they didn't get huffy-puffy with you when you backed into that yellow safety pole. And when you allow things to upset you, And if you get mad at dispatch or you get mad at that other driver, who's it affecting? It's not affecting them, it's affecting you. And the more you let things affect you, the more chance you have to make a serious mistake. Again, trust your gut. If you're not sure about something and you even have an inkling that it's not going to work, don't attempt it. Just don't attempt it. If if you're distracted about something, you have to clear your mind and say, okay, I gotta let this go. Slow down. And I don't mean just slow down on the pedal. I mean slow down rushing. Being from the Northeast, I'm one of those people, I talk really fast, people tell me. I talk weird. But everything with us is rush, rush, rush all the time. And I can tell that I'm getting closer to the Northeast just by the way people are driving. There was just a video from a Prime driver saying that he's in Atlanta and people are driving crazy, and he wants to know why the truckers drive crazy and they're supposed to be a brotherhood. And I'm like, he don't drive to Jersey too much because we're crazy. And it's funny because as soon as I hit like Washington D.C., Baltimore area, and as soon as I hit Harrisburg, when you're going through the truck stops, people don't nonchalantly stroll across the front of your truck anymore. They like run. Because I didn't even know that the pedestrian law was a thing. Seriously, like the first time I went to Vegas and people like walked in the street and then cars stopped, I was like, what's up with that? Because we don't stop for people in Jersey. Like, I know it's a law. I'm not saying I don't stop for them. I'm just saying, growing up, it wasn't something that you were accustomed to. So, so that's when I could see that our driving gets a lot crazier. And, I was just telling, somebody on the phone earlier that when you get further away from the Northeast, people are more slowed down, they speak slower, even standing at line at a register. In the Northeast, it's like, come on, hi, here's my stuff, ring it up, here, let me pay and get out. And when you go down south, especially South Carolina, and Georgia, you go into a truck stop and the guy in front of you saying, hey, Sally, how you doing? How's the kids? What happened with the basketball game the other night? Blah, blah, blah. And they're having a 40-minute conversation in front of you. And as somebody from the Northeast, that's totally rude and they're wasting my time. And yet, if I interrupted them and said, hey, could I get rung up? Then to them, I'm the rude one. But, time is money. Hey, get out. That sounds nasty. But that type of mentality of rush, rush, rush can really cause you problems and cause you to make more mistakes. And I did talk in the backing video about, making sure you go in someplace slow and taking the time to look around. Because when you just rush in, you're going to make mistakes. So you can apply that with everything. Parking, for example. Do your trip planning and figure out in the beginning of the day where you're going to park at the end of the day. Have a couple different possibilities. If you're not delivering that day, then have a few possibilities of how far you'll make it, and have possibilities of where you'll go after the customer. Because what happens is, as you get out of the customer, or as you get lower on time, your stress and anxiety level are going up. Now you're rush, 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 and guess what? Now you're going to hit something. I hope that helps. I know Anthony Blackbeard and also Red Monkey Trucking, they both posted videos about almost dropping trailers and things like that, mistakes that they made. Learn from your mistakes and own up to them. Don't try to blame somebody else. If you didn't turn wide enough, then just admit to your safety department and your dispatcher, hey, I'm sorry. I've only been out on the road for a few weeks. Yeah, I wound up hitting that truck or that trailer and I realized I didn't swing wide enough. When you turn around and say, oh, I was pulling out and then this guy cut me off and I turned not to hit him. Well, first off, you sound like a liar. And second off, you just sound like you're blaming everybody else and you're pulling that victim card. And when you do that, then you know, some people are perpetual victims. Listen to the things they say, listen to the things they write, whether they are doing it on trucking forums or on reviews. You know, some people are always blaming somebody else for something. The recruiter lied to me, my dispatcher sucks, he doesn't give me miles, you know, my company's not paying me enough, you know, I went to this interview and the guy was an idiot, and, you know, my trainer sucked. It's always somebody else's fault. So my question to people like that is, when is it your fault? When do you stand up and say, I screwed up? Yeah, there's a good advertisement for CFI next to me, huh? I had a friend, Big Scott, that used to work for CFI. Tony's still there. Hey, Tony! Stand up, own your mistakes, learn from them. Don't feel like an idiot. Don't feel like some amateur rookie, or, you know, don't allow it to deflate you so that you don't try anymore. We all make mistakes. And you're going to continue to make mistakes for years to come. The problem is that some of the mistakes out here that you can make could kill somebody. So make the small ones, not the big ones. And please like, comment, subscribe. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you and I hope you stick around. Make sure you subscribe and ring the little notification bell so you get my videos. My whole concept here on this channel is to encourage people. I'm doing this. I've done it. I've gone through the schooling and the training and everything, and you can too if that's what you want to do. If you are an experienced driver, well then I encourage you to comment down below and make sure that you assist these other newcomers, because that's what this is all about. You know, there's different channels out here that we're trying to be positive, we're trying to encourage, we're trying to inspire, we're trying to educate, and life works a lot better when people are positive and trying to help. And I am going to set my books on Amazon, my ebooks, for free when we reach 400 subscribers. So if you would please share. It's not just one book or one person. It's anybody that wants to download my books. They can do so for free. And if you don't have a Kindle, that's okay, because there's free apps that you can download for Kindle, and you can put them on your phone or your tablet or your PC. So please help me grow. And I want to say thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you out here trucking along. Bye.